All right there. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boy of Podcasting. It is I, DJ Impact, and I got Sin City Steve here with us, and I got Rob with us one more time. Our local Vegas comedian. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man.
Good. Hopefully in a minute we have a surprise Bad Boy member pop in, but
Did he?
he hasn't yet, but his computer is still trying to get fixed. So we'll see what happens when that happens. Who we won't have tonight, we won't have Simon Street and we won't have Matt Michaels. But yeah, we the show goes on as always. Nevertheless, if you're watching us live, make sure you put all your comments into the chat box of YouTube, Facebook Live, or Twitch, and we'll try to get it in as we see fit. All right. So with that, it's time to get into some wrestling talk. And we always like to start off with our, I guess the way we do it now, the Too Sweet for the week. All right, Sin City Steve, man, what highlights you got for us?
All right, so Chris Statlander and Jade Cargill went out on Friday, well, technically Wednesday when it was taped, but on Friday when it was aired, they had a 10-minute main event match that was... let's call it what it is. It was a banger on Rampage. Kudos to both women. Yes, it's probably Jade's final match in AEW. Her contract has since expired. Obviously, we're going to talk more about that in 3 count.
Yep.
But Statlander hit the Friday Night Fever on Jade to pick up the win. Very solid back and forth match. And then Statlander followed that up with another quality match on Collision versus Britt Baker. Which Statlander won as well. Quite frankly, Chris Statlander is my AEW MVP for this week. Now, if only we could get more than one women's match on a show. But anyway, also, Eddie Kingston is one of the absolute best on the mic that AEW has. And he proved it again this week. His promo on Collision to build for his title versus title match with Claudio at Grand Slam was fucking great. He's one of those guys that you believe that wrestling is real when you watch him.
Yeah.
His passion is just unmatched. So yeah, Too Sweet for the week on that. And then last week I mentioned the outcome of the Grand Slam Eliminator Tournament being obvious with Samoa Joe winning that tournament. Of course, that's exactly what happened as he defeated Roderick Strong on Dynamite to earn the world title match against MJF on Wednesday at Grand Slam. The predictable outcome was the correct one. And the last 20 minutes of that show, pretty fucking solid. We'll talk about it later.
All right. No doubt. Rob, man, what Too Sweet you got for this week?
If you smell... Yes, I was happy as hell. When they were cutting that promo with Austin Theory, and then, The Rock shows up.
Yeah.
I was so happy because he was in his element. There wasn't rust on him. He doesn't have to do a 5-minute set. He doesn't have to go in the ring and put on the gear per se, but he delivered a people's elbow.
Yep.
And I would give that people's elbow a B+, A-. And that's and not grading on a curve. I was happy all the way around. Usually I get annoyed because he'll cut a promo and he'll kind of weave in and out of being Dwayne Johnson. And he'll go, I just want to say thank you. No. He didn't do that. He stayed on point. He stayed in character for the most part. And he was even laughing kind of sarcastically. He was kind of ironic the way he was doing it. I loved that.
Yeah.
When we got to the point of Chris Statlander, I love and I hate. And very, very little to hate. I love that she's not doing her alien gimmick, but I kind of would like that too. Because she doesn't have a gimmick now. She's just kind of dry, but she's putting in the work in the ring and she's taking everyone's strongest finishers. She's taken some serious bumps. There was one time when it looked like she really did tweak her knee. And then Baker, by the way, Britt Baker is such a professional because she's kind of cocked back. And when she went to, I think it was a clothesline she went to go do. So it was really good. She really is in the in-ring MVP. I'd have to, say something to Sin City Steve.
Yeah.
I yield 10 seconds back.
No doubt. I'll take it. Well, yeah, I definitely have to agree with you on that, Rob. I got a chance to just fanboy out when The Rock showed up, and man, that just I you know what? Listen, I was hoping that maybe there would be a little bit of some sort of a hint that maybe we're going to move towards the bloodline, but there wasn't. I mean,
Yeah.
Jimmy didn't even run into him in the back. I was pissed off. I was hoping at least that would happen. So that kind of tells me
There's
they're
so
not.
many
They're not.
bloodline family members that they're not using that. Well, I've said this before. If you do the two women, Tamina and Nia Jax, and you say, hey, these are the women of the bloodline, don't do it. If you have Rikishi come in there and do something, doesn't do it. There's so many people they could go to, and they don't do it. They don't put all the pieces together.
Well, we finally got him on. King Lucky has showed up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, King Lucky, is good to see you as always. I'm gonna let you just jump right into it, man. You have any highlights for this week?
What bigger highlight is there than The Rock?
Okay.
What bigger highlight is there than that? If you smile, unless you're talking about, the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we won't get off track. You know what I mean? But the biggest highlight, bar none, is The Rock.
You know what? You're on delay, but it's still fun. It's great to see you. And with your when you're talking, you're showing up a little delay, but it's all right, man. I know you've been having those computer issues, so we'll make it do what it do. Let's move over though into our second segment, and that would be Where's the Love? All right. Let me move over to you. I go to you, Sin City again. Where's the love, man?
I can't say it enough. The work that Big Bill is doing in AEW has gone under the radar for quite some time. When he first arrived, he was part of the firm. It looked like he didn't even want to be there. He wasn't happy with what he was doing. That was obvious in just his body language, his mannerisms. But since he's been paired with Ricky Starks as his bodyguard, he has been money. He had a very solid match with Jon Moxley on Dynamite for the international title in a losing effort. And then he and Starks went out and had another solid match versus Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli on Collision. That time they did pick up the win. And, even when Starks cut a blistering promo later on in the show, Big Bill was still standing there being his imposing self. I can't say it enough. Yes, keep doing what you're doing with Big Bill.
Yeah. Rob, what's your take, man? Where's the love?
Scorpio Sky, why is he jobbing? Why is the first tag guy for AEW jobbing? He loses a match in Collision, and we're expecting that this is going to tie into something, and then the camera just pans away from him. He was literally enhancement talent. Why is the guy who was the TBS champion jobbing? It doesn't make any sense to me. And also, it's not like the announcers sat there and said, "Oh my God, yeah, they had a little package for him at the beginning, but then the package doesn't follow up with the post game. If you're going to set him up with a package, right, and then afterwards he loses and that's it, he's gone. Well, why did you even bother with a package? You've got Ricky Starks coming out with pyrotechnics, and he's right now real mid-level because you're not putting a belt on him. He's just they're testing the waters with him, because you think about Ricky Starks, they moved him from being a face, and then at a 180 overnight made him a heel, and he still has energy behind him. But for the love of God, what are you doing with Scorpio Sky? He was really over as a face.
Yeah,
they don't know, and to that matter, it's like the same thing with Apollo Crews. Same kind of concept. What do we do with this guy? Oh, we made him a heel one summer, and we made him African when he wasn't. Okay. Now what do we do with him? Oh, back to NXT with you. You're back in the minor leagues. Learn how to pitch 99 again. I don't understand why they can't just, hey, you've got the other half of his tag team. You've got Christopher Daniels. Put him with Christopher Daniels. Put the tag team back there, because the stipulation was with Daniel's other tag team partner, not Scorpio Sky. So Scorpio Sky could go face turn overnight and be over.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
King Lucky, where's the love, man?
Yeah, I like a lot of what he was talking about with Scorpio Sky. I feel like they just got to go ahead and release him, man. They don't know what to do with him. But mine is actually Ruby Soho. That one to me is baffling because, when she left WWE, from all accounts, everybody said how much of a locker room leader she was and how much they loved her and how sweet she was. And she has just not gotten a fair shake at all in AEW. So, I mean, it's hopefully now with kind of Tony and Saraya getting kind of into this thing, this feud a little bit deeper, maybe, she ultimately turns on one of them and feuds with one of them, hopefully. I mean, but where is the love for Ruby Soho is my question.
Yeah. Interesting. I will say this, and this is going to you, Rob, and Jeremy. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. One of the things I just put on is said, what about the uselessness of putting the NXT women's title on Lynch? She's headline Mania, and now she's back on NXT. Rob, I just got to ask you, and I'll ask Jeremy too, should we still be looking at NXT kind of the way NXT was sort of presented from the beginning? It's now kind of risen itself to more of a better status, right? Kind of up there close to, I mean, it's not a Raw, it's not a SmackDown, but it's not back to its beginning.
Let me jump in on this.
Yeah.
This is the way they frame it in the commercial, almost like the real thing. I never want to have a program come out there. I never liked the idea that AEW went from 1 to 2 to 3 shows overnight. I thought it was too much of a rush. I think they needed to solidify Dynamite. Dynamite ratings were shaky at best, and then they rushed out and added 2 shows in a year and a half. That being said, Dynamite always treated all 3 shows, AEW treated all 3 shows as all of these shows are important. Whereas WWE said there's SmackDown, there's Raw, and there's this NXT thing that Triple H has got with Shawn Michaels. And we're going to make it look like old school TNA. We're going to make it look like an indie show. Okay. Well, every once in a while, I don't have anything to do for the New Day to do. We're going to give them the belts. I need to take this title and give it to Dominic Mysterio. All right. Well, now if I'm on NXT, I'm pissed because this is my chance to rise up, and you're giving main talent guys my belt. That's my opportunity. Mm-hmm. That's like, a 40-year-old guy going, I'm a lady tomorrow, and I'm going to join college basketball in the women's team and go against, I'm 6'5". I'm going to go against a 5'8" girl who's 19, which I'm joking, but that happened in UConn, And it was like, oh, wait a minute. Why are you giving the belts away? Are you trying to tell me that The Rock's kid is not good enough to get her own belt? Why does Becky have it? She's not going to do it. She's not going to elevate that title. It's a different brand. And
all right.
It just, the brand to me serves no purpose. I don't connect with any of those lower wrestlers. And if you're going to take main talent guys and throw them down there, you've taken those wrestlers and put them further down the card.
Yeah, I got you, man. All right. Same thing Jeremy was saying. Hey, he just says if you push the NXT with the same level of social media interaction and push, that would be a start. So, okay, I get it. All right, let's move right over to my favorite part of the show. What the I'm sure there has to be a lot of WTFs this week because we all watched AEW, right? Okay, my bad. I'm doom. All right, Sin City Steve.
How am I not surprised? How am I not surprised? Anyway, so I sit here and I talk. We all talk about AEW doing what all they've done in 5 years, and quite frankly, they've done a lot. But unfortunately, it seems that they're destined. No matter what, come rain, snow, sleet, whatever, they are destined for at least one production gaffe per show. Every single fucking week. It never fails. On Collision, I shit you not, before the Keith Lee promo, We actually saw someone say Collision, take 22 before the fucking promo. Come on, guys. What the fuck? Elsewhere,
there you go.
Andrade El Idolo defeated Scorpio Sky in a loser doesn't leave catering match. Obviously, that wasn't the real stip, but it might as well have been. Andrade gets the win with the figure 8, and then we had the Bang Bang Gang come out. As you mentioned, Rob, absolutely no thought given to Scorpio Sky whatsoever. I guess that's the direction. I guess that's a direction that they're looking at going. But, you know, Jay White comes out. He challenges Andrade for a match next week. I mean, I'm all for having Bullet Club Gold on my TV every single week. I've said it numerous times. But getting a win over Andrade next week isn't exactly statement making for Jay White. Andrade feels like as if he's only getting a win this past week to temporarily inflate him to put over White. What the fuck?
Yeah. Good points there. King Lucky, you ready, man? What the WTF is going on? You got.
Listen, I want to piggyback a little bit off of what he said.
Yeah.
Because I saw that too with the Keith Lee thing, and it wasn't just once. It happened a couple of times on the show. But I mean, listen, I would like to believe they are not that Bush League. I would have to think Tony is so meticulous about things that he wouldn't let that go, right? So it has to be part of something bigger. But yeah, my WTF is Keith Lee. Like, that dude had all the potential in the world when he left WWE, right? He came to AEW, did a few things, but he just seems like he is floundering out there. Big fish in a now not so little pond, right? But just the way he dresses, the way he comes across, it's not professional. You remember meeting Keith Lee a few years ago at Royal Rumble Access.
Yep.
Dude had a suit on, the whole nine. Now he just looks like he fit in with the pack. And to me, it's a larger issue with AEW. Not everybody is, let's say, how can I say this? The maturity level, to me, is not there in AEW. You know, that, to me, I think that's what causes a lot of these issues that they have. Yeah. Like, for instance, the thing with Jungle Boy or Jack Perry, you know, looking at the camera and saying what he said, you know, even if Punk would have never choked him out or whatever. Yeah. If I'm Tony, I still would have took him off of TV for pulling those like total bullshit moves. But yeah, that's my WTF. Keith Lee. Yeah. Give me some Keith Lee back. I mean, we got the Bearcat, all this stuff. Yeah. Put that guy back on track, man, or let him go too.
Yeah. Rob, man, WTF, what you got?
That first match on Rampage was just a clusterfuck. I had no idea what they were doing. It was just a filler match. We've got, and I got to read this one because I had to write a note because I can't remember all of it. It was just a big glob. The Hardys and Pentel Cero Miedo and Ray Phoenix fighting Jay Lethal, the Butcher, the Blade, and Jeff Jarrett, and there's a bunch of run-ins, and they don't know what they want to do. Like, you know what it is? It seems like Rampage is basically directed by who did Kill Bill? I'm blanking out.
Quentin Tarantino.
It's Quentin Tarantino. That's it.
Yeah.
Every episode of Rampage is a Quentin Tarantino thing. It's just, you know, it's like well, what are we watching here? And here's the point: a match is supposed to have a purpose. You cannot just do a filler match. Even when WWE does a filler match, they give you a trophy at the end. They give you an Andre the Giant trophy. You're like, oh, here's a big battle royale. Here's a freaking trophy. AEW does it, and he goes, okay. What did I just watch? Well, it was a bunch of guys who were famous 15 years ago on WWE in there. Well, okay, all right. And then we have that botch where he goes, cut. Now, I've seen the TNA do that, except that was even worse. That was a fight sequence. So they go, all right, Ken Anderson, start fighting. And then Anderson goes, and he goes, did you get it? That was on TNA about 7 years ago. I'm getting annoyed though with the iron workhorses and the iron jobbers. Why is FTR fighting jobbers? I'm being sarcastic. I really don't know who the fuck these people are. They're not important. FTR is wasting everybody's time. There's real tag teams that they could be making and not throwing jobbers out there from some local fucking gym.
Wow.
Oh, the bingo hole's got some jobbers. Here we go.
Wow. That's right, man. Y'all not holding back. I love it. All right, let's get right into the lookout. All right, it's got to be something that you're looking forward to seeing next week, next month, next year. I don't know. Let me jump over to you. Sin City, Steve, the lookout. What you got?
All right. I am really looking out for Konosuke Takeshita versus Kota Ibushi at Wrestle Dream. Holy shit, boys. Breaking news. They did a video package this week on Collision. I know it's a lot to consider. They actually did a comprehensive video package chronicling the history of Omega and Ibushi and why, it establishes motive for Takeshita to target Ibushi. It's not fucking brain surgery. Elsewhere, Aussie Open faced FTR on October 1st, 2022 in New Japan Pro Wrestling's Royal Quest 2 event. FTR retained their IWGP World Tag titles. That was arguably one of the best tag team matches of 2022. And they're running it back 1 year to the day later, October 1st, 2023 at Wrestle Dream. Both teams, you made mention of it earlier, they're just running through jobbers. Unfortunately, I think that's what they're going to do leading up to Wrestle Dream. I hope not, but that's just what I'm thinking. And then add to those matches the Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. match, which is a dream match in itself. You've also got Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland. I mean, you've got a great card in the works for October 1st. I'm looking forward to it.
King Lucky. Tell me, man, what you looking forward to?
Hey, there's a lot right now. If you're a wrestling fan, there's never been a better time, right? There's so much there. There's literally wrestling on every single night of the week, except Thursday. Oh, wait. There's that show. It's called Impact Wrestling. All right. I digress. Okay.
Whatever.
Look, in all seriousness, I want to continue to see. I'm on the lookout for the rise of Ricky Stark. I want to see what they're going to continue to do with them, right? He's been such a pivotal point or a pivotal star now on Collision. And Collision to me is by far the best AEW show, hands down. Dynamite used to be good, but then they kind of just, if they got something booked, then the writing kind of goes out of the window for that show. But Collision is always spot on. And now we know that Bryan Danielson is taking over the reins on that show. And just starts to rise when he moves to WWE. That is true. But I think when you look at it, I mean, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. I was never hyped on Zack Sabre Jr. I didn't know about him too much, and I'll say that to be honest and transparent. But I am looking forward to him and Bryan Danielson's match, and so lots of good stuff. Lastly, looking forward to the Royal Rumble. That's coming in January.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see who's gonna show up.
All right. Rob, what you looking out for?
I was staring off into space there because I wanted to get all the names right. I'm really looking forward to next week's Impact Wrestling because it's going to be Trinity, Jordan Grace, Awesome Kong, Gail Kim versus Deonna Purrazzo, Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, Angelina Love, and Velvet Sky. I can't wait for that match. It's going to be awesome. It's kind of just like a little campy match, whatever. But that's fun. I just want to enjoy a wrestling match without having to have too much attached to it once in a while. I know I said earlier it's got to be a purpose, but it's old and new members all at the same time. They're setting it up well. That's different than just randomly doing something with current talent and then burying half the people in the match. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson. Not as much from Zack Sabre Jr. They elevated it by saying that Bryan Danielson's going to be retiring soon. And this kind of came out of left field for me. We know that he's been dealing with the concussions, and you kind of got the feeling that there was not going to be a title run for him. But what if there is? What if he wins this and comes out of this match with some great momentum and goes, you know what? Screw my kid. She'll turn 8, so she can wait a year. I want a freaking belt. Because I can't imagine him doing something like the Blackpool Combat Club and not going all out, pun intended. I can't imagine him doing that. And slightly, look forward to what's going on with the Blackpool Combat Club. Are they faces now?
Yeah.
They're getting punked by randos. Like, when freaking Claudio Castagnoli was going up for the bridge and he gets kicked in the stomach, I'm like, no, you're supposed to be the guy doing that. So they're doing a face turn. So anytime you do a turn, someone's going to leave the group. Something is going on. One of them is going to go baby face, and then they're going to have a division soon. I'm going to call that.
All right. No one's looking forward to Dragunov and Carmelo. No. All right.
I mean, I'll watch it if everyone else says it's good.
Listen,
I don't watch NXT.
Yeah, NXT is it's a weird love for me because they got all these younger talent, and then like you guys mentioned earlier, they're bringing back some of this more established main roster talent.
NXT is Jobbers R Us.
Yeah. I do think they're going to start to clean that show up a little bit and really get lean with, the talent they have there, because they've got some great names of people that A, could come there, B, that are already there. So I think that show is bound to be flipped on its head.
All right, it's time to get to Best in Show. Here we go. Well, this one is easy. Best in Show for this week is SmackDown. That's the end, and it's time for them. Yep, there we go. See? I mean, can anyone say anything different? Oh, okay.
Obviously.
I would like to hear Sin City Steve's argument on why SmackDown wasn't the Best in Show.
I'll gladly tell you why SmackDown wasn't.
It doesn't matter.
Oh God.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll gladly tell you because I didn't watch SmackDown.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
anyway.
Come on.
So AEW Collision. I'm actually going to agree with something you just mentioned not too long ago, Lucky. It did feel like as if they hit the reset button with this week's AEW Collision, and they've been kind of poking at it, but this week, yeah, they definitely slammed that fucking thing. They established ROH veterans, the Righteous, by defeating the Hardys, which whatever that's worth these days. They're trying a heel turn for your favorite faction, Lucky. You know who I'm talking about. The Dark Order. Yeah,
The Dork Order.
The Dork Order.
Don't give me no more of them guys. Especially that midget. That little person.
They even have the Mogul Embassy putting their ROH 6-man tag titles on the line next week against Hangman Page and the Young Bucks.
The Hung Bucks.
The Hung Bucks, who incidentally, if you watch BTE, you would know that the Dork Order now actually owns the copyright to Hung Bucks. Anyway, I digress. I have to give a special shout out though to the fucking Steiner math that was done on Dynamite. If no one mentioned it, it would be a complete travesty. MJF sitting in the back, completely just reciting the Steiner math promo from TNA and made it work against Samoa Joe. It was fucking chef's kiss.
It was
good. Best in show was Collision.
All right. Let me go over to you then, Rob. Tell us best in show.
Monday Night Raw. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Raw
I was as soon as if you took The Rock out of SmackDown that day. It still might be the best in show that week. The matches were good. For me, WWE, the pacing of the matches are really freaking slow. And sometimes they do like these 2 commercial breaks per match. And I'm like, dude, I don't have the patience to sit through that many commercial breaks. Oh, you want me to watch the commercials now?
Hey, trick.
Yeah.
Here's a trick. Don't watch it live. Even start an hour behind. And then you fast forward.
I don't have the patience to fast forward and watch.
What?
I don't
watch it live.
No, I don't always watch live. My thing is this: it was good when The Rock came out there and was slapping, Austin Theory around. He didn't look like he had a lot of ring rust. He did look a little bit older, but not that bad. You could almost give him a couple of month run. It's not going to be that. It was just very entertaining all the way through. Grayson Waller is whatever. He's another one of those shows. Not the best one that they've had, but I think he said is a little too elaborate for what they do. And it was ironic because, John Cena got a way smaller pop than The Rock. And me being the kind of analytical prick that I am, I'm like, look at this. Everybody got a way smaller pop than The Rock. And that made me interested to watch the whole night through to see how everybody else compared against The Rock. And The Rock blew the roof off the building, and most of those people in the audience weren't even alive when he was, wrestling. I'm being honest. And he was still bigger than anybody else that night. Even Eli Drake, LA Knight, didn't get a pop as big as The Rock. That was noticeable. But it was a freaking entertaining night.
Got you. Jeremy here says he agrees with you, Rob. The best actual match recently was MJF and Adam Cole. The match actually told a good story. That was a good standard match. Hey, let me ask you, let me jump up to another comment I had posted earlier, if I can find it right quick. This could be for you, King Lucky. He said this. Jim said, I think the only reason why we're seeing The Rock and Cena right now is because of the writer's strike. They have open schedules with nothing being filmed. I agree it should be Cody. I'm assuming maybe Cody for winning the or at least going to Mania.
Winning at Mania 40.
Yeah. What's your take on that, King Lucky?
Listen, I think, yes, the writer's strike certainly helped get those guys back into the fold. And, while we don't know how long this is going to last, I say they almost had the perfect storm because they were in, Colorado, and then the game was happening and all that stuff. So they had like the perfect storm, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you really want to do something special, like you have The Rock show up on Raw too. You know what I mean? And have The Rock have an interaction with main event Jey Uso. Like you don't know what they're talking about, but they kind of have this thing backstage or whatever. You can set the table for so many different things. But I would have Rock show up.
Let me tell you this. I just, my main reason why I was thinking The Rock is not going, the whole idea of us hoping we see more of The Rock involved in the bloodline, I was hoping maybe they would tease something, even though we didn't have to get a whole lot of nothing. But even if somehow Jimmy was asking, hey, is my cousin still here or whatever, and started looking for him or running and come to find out Rock took off, at least there was some acknowledgement, but there wasn't even acknowledged that between those two were even in the same building, which kind of shows that they're not even.
They didn't have to right away.
Huh?
You don't have to. You don't have to right away. It's a slow burn.
What other time you going to have than that right there? If you really were going to start planting the seeds of something happening further down, how can you ignore that? I just think it was.
Paul Heyman is the key to all of this, because Paul Heyman. There's a couple of things that I noticed. First of all, and this is going to seem really obscure, you notice his hair is basically white now. He's not making himself the center of attention. He's just kind of behind the scenes. He doesn't have a lot to say in the last few weeks. Also, when I say that he's a center, if he thinks that The Rock is going to be important, if Dwayne Johnson's going to move a story along or do something, then you're going to have Paul Heyman react. But he's not. So it tells me that they're waiting for Roman Reigns to heal up, and that all they're doing is just kind of stretching the pizza dough out a little more. They're stretching the gum out a little more until Roman Reigns gets back. And then I think Paul Heyman's going to look like he did, 3 weeks ago. He'll shellac his head. He'll come out there, big stupid grin on his face. I told you, and he'll do, quintessential vintage Paul Heyman. Everything is kind of happening right now to give Roman time. I don't think it has anything to do with the writer's strike. I think it's just the fact that they overextended Roman Reigns. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. I'm not going to die on the hill. I'm going to fight on this hill. He should have lost WrestleMania 39. Gave Cody Rhodes the chance to do any story in any direction.
Nope, I disagree.
Cody Rhodes had a free reign to go in any direction. Roman Reigns was penned. Roman Reigns was screwed.
No.
Joe was screwed because they left him nowhere to go. So now you have an overworked talent who has no storyline left. Let's say this is the Transcontinental Railroad. There's no rail left.
Like I said, it made no sense for Cody Rhodes to just automatically be brought in, go to Mania, and just win it on the first try.
But it wasn't because they gave him a year. Now he was injured. Fine, he had the tear. He had the pectoral tear. They gave him a good run with Seth Rollins. They sold him to the moon. And it's not about Cody Rhodes winning. It's about Roman Reigns having nowhere to go, both physically and storyline wise. So what did they have to do? They had to turn inwards and go, okay, we have nothing new for him to do. We're going to have him turn on his own family. And they did it. And yes, we watched, but it was like masturbatory. It's like, it's like jerking off to like a fat hairy girl porn. And you're like, why did I just do this? Oh God, what was I thinking? Oh Jesus. I watched it, but come on. I know better than that. I know that this was a waste of fucking time. He's got a belt. Oh, wait a minute. No, he's the Universal World Heavyweight Champion. Oh, wait a minute. They gave the World Heavyweight part to some other guy. He's not even that anymore. What the hell are we doing? Wait a minute. Paul Heyman is still showing up with 2 belts on his shoulder, and Roman Reigns has got a 3rd one. None of those belts mean anything. What are we watching? What the fuck are we watching? He's disputed. He's incredibly disputed. This is stupid writing. There was a writer's strike 2 months ago.
You know what? We're going to have another show where we just battle this out. I got to end this one. All right. But we got to, because we've talked about this, and you, like you said, you're going to die on that hill, and I'm going to die on mine.
No, I'm fighting. I got a machine gun, baby.
Wait, hold on. Let me get a little piece of this one, too. Listen, I love Cody, right? And I think they probably, out of maybe any free agent in at least my recent memory, they polished him up great, right? Marketed him extremely well. So going into WrestleMania, and I was there, I was like, man, could he really do it? Could he beat Roman Reigns, right? And if you think about it, after all the dominance that Roman Reigns had, storyline wise, and I know Steve loves that, but after all the dominance that he's had, all these WrestleManias, but you couldn't have Cody come in and beat Roman Reigns on his first shot. There's no way.
Thank you.
The only reason I'm saying is not because of Cody. It's because you wrote Roman with nothing left to do. And the proof was in the pudding. I said, I don't give a shit about 39. I care about the Raw afterwards. And he was so freaking bored when they cut that promo in ring. He got in he got out.
Here's the deal. They don't need Roman to show up and have anything to do because they're selling out arenas anyway.
Monday night. Yeah, but they're selling out 10,000 seat arenas and 14,000 seat arenas. They're not doing 20, 30, 40 on a Monday night.
Selling that out. I mean, listen, I got to end this show.
There's no need to compare to AEW, especially when you insinuate that they're lesser than WWE. You should not be comparing WWE to AEW.
And also, wait, one other thing.
So go ahead, end your show.
Are they writing now that Cody Rhodes is pulling strings behind the scenes that he could bring in an Uso and bring him onto another scene? So is Cody Rhodes taking up a higher mantle in the company? I don't know what they're insinuating with that. That's another thing. So if he's that important, give him the fucking belt and get it over with.
You know what? Next week we're gonna start an hour early and we're just gonna hash this out. How about that? We're just gonna hash out.
Roman Reigns had nowhere to go. Now he's hurt. You got the belt. Guess what you're doing with it? Nothing.
That belt's got dust on it. Like always, dude wrestles 4 times a fucking year, and that's still too frequent.
It looks like Saraya's old WWE belt.
Brock Lesnar did the same thing. I don't hear the complaining then.
We all complained.
We all complained. Bro.
All right.
And who represented Brock?
You're just pissed because now it's your boy.
Paul Heyman represented him then, and now we're doing the exact same thing. Here's what you do, Roman. You do absolutely nothing. You just sit there, Roman. That's not a spoiler.
He's got a point.
Oh my God. Listen, on our 3 count, we about to jump right into it in a second. We got a lot to discuss. All right. We got to get into what happened with WWE now, selling off to the big wigs now. So we got, some people got laid off. We got to talk about
I'll draw my pencil mustache in.
We got to talk about Jade Cargo. We'll talk about that since I can go in on that. And then
I'll drink your bathwater.
And then PWI top 500. Can you guess who got number 1 or number 2? Better yet, number 3. It's pretty something interesting about all of that. Make sure when we end this and we hop back on, that you hop back on all the comments you put on. We'll make sure that we get it on, because it's going to be a big discussion. But thanks for hanging out with us with this wrestling talk. Until then, we'll see you. Peace out.